So, hey guys, today I've been feeling a little bit inspired, so today we're going to be making a bit of a weird punk list. So, the idea behind this is that we're going to be playing punk with Metalmorph. And I'm pretty sure this should work, so we'll give it a try. So, first things first, we're going to need to grab all of the low level punk tuners, and oddly enough, all these guys are psychics, and the level 8 ones are just whatever they feel like being. And also, dear note, this is a warrior, because yes. And okay, we'll just go ahead and grab a big punk package because it'll be mostly punk. And I think that is probably the right answer. And I think I want to run one additional field spell. I haven't really decided on what field spell to run yet, but I do want to run some sort of field spell at least. So, alright, that should be about everything. And then I guess you could also put in Rising Scale, which I'll figure out the ratios for how many Rising Scales we're playing later. Okay. We have the punk cards, and then we'll want the Metalmorph cards. And you guys might be thinking, oh, but none of these guys really work. Well, I guess we can technically go into the Metal Zoa because this is a fiend. But that's about it, right? No, we have a dragon, but not yet. I haven't put it into the deck yet. But we'll have access to one. Don't you worry about that. So, okay, I guess with Max Metalmorph, we'll want at least one Max Metalmorph, and then Flame Coat, and then probably, like, I'm thinking 2 Max Metalmorph, 1 Flame Coat. That'll probably be sufficient. And then we'll grab Metal Flame Swordsman, Full Metal Dragon, Metal Illusionist is pretty good, so we'll want to run that. Incoming Machine, I'm not sure if we want to run that, so we'll see about that later. Zoa, I'm not like a super big fan of here, so we won't do that, but Metal Zoa, sure, that's fine. And speaking of which, this requires a warrior that is level 5 or higher. Would you look at that? A level 5 or higher warrior. This requires a level 5 or higher fiend monster. Where is it? Looky, right here. A fiend monster. So all we're missing for now, technically just a dragon monster, which I'll put in later. So, alright. We want consistent access to at least one of the Metalmorph monsters to really get this going. So obviously putting Deer Note or Booger Dance, kind of awkward to put that onto like your inboard and then to have to tribute it. That seems sick in the head. Like, what's wrong with you? So, alright, we'll go Ash Blossom next. And then I think because of how combo works, I think we need a second Amazing Dragon, which is also not a dragon. And then Dragon Drive, which is also not a dragon. In case you were thinking these were going to be our dragons for the Max Metalmorph. No, not in the slightest. So, alright. Next thing we're looking for is going to be maybe some sort of field spell would be good. So what kind of field spell would be kind of good for this? I think I want one additional field spell with this, if possible. It should do something. Maybe just a chicken game would be good. Just to kind of get that done. But we don't really want our opponent benefiting off of it. I'm not sure if I can get rid of a chicken game. So let's quickly take a look at what field spell options we have. Get a Waterfront's funny, but I mean, it's not like that useful. Something useful is the ideal here. Dragon Ravine to send a dragon wouldn't be that useful. I mean, it could kind of be useful, but probably not. If we played a small Yubel package, that'd be fun, I guess. And then this would be able to go into just more things. Honestly, I'm thinking like a maybe for the Nightmare Throne, but it's not really necessary, right? Varian, Untopia. That'd be funny if we played an Armored Xyz package. Then that's like kind of reasonable, honestly. Fisher Planet Rates Off. Oh, that's actually not bad because we could play a small like cash engine, and then this would allow us to make like potentially barons and stuff, but That's like pretty high roll. So I'm not like a super big fan. If we're feeling particularly cruel, we could do a Necro Valley, honestly. Hmm. Necro Valley. Do we do Necro Valley? It's almost worth considering, actually. But you know, just because I like zombies, we're going to go with. Wait, we can't do Zombie World because that would turn our own monsters into zombies as well. That actually does matter for this, so we can't do it, unfortunately. Man. Well, what else is there? Hidden City. Actually, we could, but it's not like super great. Negate your opponent's first monster effect that resolves each turn while you control a spellcaster monster with 1500 defense. I don't think we have a single spellcaster here. Nor can we make one. Hmm. How about this? Nope. Doesn't really do anything for us. How about this? During your standby phase, during your main phase. Opponent monster declares an attack. Nope. Doesn't really do much for us. There must be a field spell that does something, but I'm just overlooking it. Hmm. It doesn't even have to do anything crazy, just something moderate, honestly, and then that'd be fine. I guess to simplify things, we could just go with the Raytaw. And that'd be the simplest thing we could go for. Neverpain would have also been good, I guess. We'd do Black Garden if we're feeling particularly sinister, actually, so we'll go with that one. I haven't calculated out how many summons we're doing, so no idea if this is, like, even remotely optimal, but, you know, whatever's fine. So, alright, we have Black Garden now. And we're going to go for a package that makes all of this make sense. So we're actually going to run Ultima Tzolk'in now. And to make Tzolk'in, we'll need some target. So we'll just run Sigma. Or not Sigma. The other guy, Magma. So that'll do. And this should be able to just work. And then we can go into either Ancient Fairy Dragon or a Crystal Wing. Either or is fine. And we're not tributing necessarily either of these. We can use these for different things. Like Baron, depending on how well we open. We just have access to Baron now. And then the card we're actually tributing will be the would be useless to Tzolk'in. So yeah, that's all it is really. And then we'll grab, I guess, Psychic and Punisher. And then throw in Typhon, and then we're like most of the way there, I guess. Not sure what else we really would need to put in here, but you know, gets the job done. And then we have Black Garden as well, which I haven't calced for to see how many summons we'll actually do at the point where we add the Ancient Fairy Dragon, but you know, we can do things here. And technically, we could make seals as well and run a small bestial package, which I think is not actually that bad. So we'll do that for some of our hand traps. Like this, I guess. We don't need too many copies of Lubellion. We can run Random Regain if we want, but we don't actually need it per se. So something like this should be fine. And I guess if we're already running this much, what's one copy of Regain going to do? Alright. Called by. And we'll go aim for 45, I guess. Throw in a couple more hand traps to round out. So let's go Ghost Dogger. Effect Veiler. This rounds out like pretty nicely, I think. So the basic idea, pretty basic, we're going to try to draw some cards and hopefully It's going to be Metal Illusionist. That's about all I'm hoping for. I guess we could play technically more copies of Incoming Machine, and then Incoming Machine will then be able to also search us just a relevant card, maybe. Don't really want to play this to some extent, but it's like fine. I think it's better to have the mentality of trying to get into the punk cards, and then if we can get into these other cards later, it's fine. But alright. So I think we can just turn Metal Illusionist into a dragon, make seals, special summon like Magma or Drew Swarm, and then convert that into the Red Eyes Black Full Metal Dragon. That's probably what I'm thinking of here. So we'll just draw 5, and then we could figure out like the extra deck like another day. I don't really care that much for the last slot here. I guess you could make Zeus with Jam Fever, right? Yeah, alright. So here this hand's like terrible. But let's see, this hand also terrible. But where are my punk starters? Alright, here's a punk starter. So this hand, cracked. We don't need the Metal Zoa. We can just put this into the graveyard because we already have Max Metalmorph. So Foxy Tune resolves pitching Metal Zoa. Special summons Xiamen. Xiamen adds Sharakusai. And then we should normal summon Sharakusai using the Deer Note plus the Sharakusai. And then that would work. But now that I think about it, if we have Foxy Tune into Xiamen, Xiamen can actually search Rising Scale instead. And then we can go into combo from there. And we have an additional body. That's about all that really does. Yeah. Not really sure how worth the Rising Scale is here. I'll probably figure out Rising Scale later, but alright. Essentially, basic idea is then that we go... Well, actually, wait, this is a level 8, which we can use for Tzolk'in. And then we can have the level 8 plus maybe Gem Fever. Oh, maybe the Rising Cup's a little bit more worth than I thought. But we can go into it from Foxy Tune start, right? Yeah. Okay. So either way, Karakusai plus Deer Note to make Rising Carp. And then Rising Carp will then go into Wagon. And then in this case, I think it'll be Deer Note. And then we can use these two. Well, we can use this to search the field spell. And then we can, in this case, I think, can we do Jam Dragon Drive? Now we need a tuner. Okay, so we'll do Sigma, I guess, or Magma. Go Magma. I guess we could replace this with Diablantis if we throw a Garnet in the main, which I wouldn't be like super happy about, but alright. We can do this. Go Magma effect, which is nothing. And then we just turn this into Tzolk'in plus another 8. In this case, we could use Rising Card or Rising Scale? No, we can leave Rising Scale because this is actually interruption, right? Unless we want to reborn Sharakusai, maybe. Do we have an additional 8 with us later? I don't think we do, so we would probably convert this with Ancient Fairy Dragon. Potentially, like in this hand, I guess we wouldn't, but we could convert Ancient Fairy plus like any of the level 3 tuners into like a Baron. That's just a thing we can do. And also, if we're able to make seals with like the max illusionist, which we don't have access to here, if we have illusionist, we can make seals and then do like the bestial plays as well, which is pretty cracked because this can convert itself to a dragon. So we can do like dragon plus dragon seals. Then it just goes into everything else, and it's just like interaction out the wazoo. Well, yeah. Okay. If it works, I guess. So in this specific hand, I don't think there's that much of a point in going into an Ancient Fairy Dragon, is there? I mean, we did search the wagon. The only thing we have access to is Black Garden. So if we did Ancient Fairy Dragon with that, how many summons do we actually perform? I actually didn't bother counting. But, you know, we do have Max Metalmorph as well for an additional summon. And we can make Baron and stuff, so We're clogging up our opponent's zones with tokens, essentially. Which is just not bad, honestly. How many summons do we do at that point? Wait. Summon the guys back. Tzolk'in. Trigger Tzolk'in. Summon Ancient Fairy Dragon. Pop Field Spell. Black Garden. Activate Black Garden. Special Summon. Baron. And then we might be able to. Well, actually, with just these two, we can actually make seals. So we can use those two. So that's summon number 2. Does it... Can it halve 0? This is a mandatory effect, actually. Halve its attack, then. It'll attempt the halve, and we're dividing by 0 here. I think you can do that. Technically, right? So we do that, and then that should give us a token. So I didn't even see these two being able to make seals until just now. I must be blind. But okay, we have those two, and then we have potential of making Jam Fever. If we actually left, if we reborned, like Jam Dragon Drive, or not Jam Dragon Drive, if we reborn the Rising Carp, we can convert that, and then we can use the Rising Scale instead to make the Tzolk'in with. Yeah, I see that. That's doable. And then that's summon 1, 2, 3. Seals will summon a guy when we bounce our opponent's card. And then we can summon because of Metalmorph, putting our opponents at 5 tokens. Yes, sir. That'll work, I guess. Something like that. They'll be like 4 or 5 tokens. Yeah. Somewhat efficient, I guess. Okay. And then here, I guess we would be doing normal. Activate Extreme Session, normal summon this. And then we can try to do the search. Try to resolve this, grab Xiamen grabs Rising Scale. Yeah, I think that this is a fine one-of in this deck, because we're playing a different archetype. If we were playing more P.U.N.K, or yeah, more P.U.N.K, less of everything else, I think playing more Rising Scales would make more sense, but alright. Yeah. That's all I got for you guys today, and I think, like, I don't think we would play, like, 3. I think the limit for Rising Scale might be, like, 2. And we would just change the ratios like this, where we're playing 2 Rising Scale and just 1 Deer Note. Just Deer Note's not, like, as cracked as Rising Scale in hand, I think. Having the extra, like, Deer Note's, like, not bad either. There are, like, small reasons to have this, but, yeah. That's all I got for you guys today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.